So, picture this. In one country, the government is actively pushing for more faith in public life, but just across the border, expressing certain religious beliefs could literally land you in jail. This is the global clash over religious freedom, and it forces us all to ask a really difficult question.
I mean, this quote really spells out the ideal, right? This vision where faith isn't something you just do behind closed doors. It's a protected, celebrated, God-given right. But, and this is the big but, what happens when that freedom bumps right up against someone else's?
And there it is. That's the real heart of the issue we're diving into. How do you possibly balance two fundamental rights when they seem to be pulling in completely opposite directions? It's a massive challenge, and as we're about to see, different countries are coming up with wildly different answers.
Okay, so first stop, the United States. Now, you might think the government's job is just to be a neutral referee when it comes to religion. But that's not exactly what's happening. Here, the government is actively promoting faith, treating it as a vital public good.
This isn't just about protecting religious freedom on paper. The U.S. administration is pushing for what it calls a resurgence of faith in public life, because it sees faith as an essential part of the nation's character.
And these aren't just words either. Look at the concrete actions being taken. We're talking about new government offices, new commissions, special task forces, the whole shebang. It's all designed to make faith a much more visible part of the public square.
Take this America Prays initiative, for example. It's part of the country's big 250th anniversary, and the ask is huge. What if 1 million of us prayed for 1 hour a week for our country? They're even quoting George Washington, saying religion and morality are indispensable supports for the nation. The goal is clear: put faith right back at the center of American life.
Okay, now let's hop across the border to Canada, because what's happening there is almost the mirror opposite. That ideal of free religious expression, well, it's on a collision course with some really powerful laws designed to combat hate speech.
And this slide just nails the key difference. In the U.S., the First Amendment famously protects even speech that's, hurtful. But in Canada, nope. Hate propaganda is a straight-up crime. It's one legal distinction, but it creates two totally different worlds for what you can and can't say in the name of your faith. So this proposed law, the Combating Hate Act, sounds pretty straightforward. I mean, who would defend hate, right? But it's causing a huge controversy because everyone's arguing over what actually counts as hate. And this is the real flashpoint. For decades, Canada had this thing called a good faith defense. It basically protected you if you were expressing a religious opinion honestly, even if it was controversial. Well, the proposal on the table is to get rid of that protection, and for many, that feels like a seismic shift.
Now, supporters of this change argue it's just common sense. They say, look, faith should never be a shield for inciting hatred, especially with hate crimes on the rise. From their perspective, this is a necessary fix to protect vulnerable groups.
But critics are sounding the alarm, calling it an all-out assault on religious freedom. The fear here is that the government could start arresting people just for quoting religious texts that someone else finds offensive. And this fear runs deep. It taps right into a theological belief that faith is supposed to be in conflict with worldly powers.
We're about to head down under to Australia. But hey, if you're finding this explainer valuable, please take a quick second to hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help us make more content just like this.
All right, now let's travel to Australia, where the conflict shifts a bit. It's less about what you can say and more about what religious institutions can do. And this gets really interesting in their education system.
Get a load of this number: 1 in 3. 1 out of every 3 students in Australia attends a private school. And yep, you guessed it, the vast majority of those are religious schools. We're talking about a huge amount of influence here.
And here's where it gets really controversial. These schools get public, taxpayer funding. Yet current law allows them to fire a teacher for being gay or expel a transgender student if it goes against their religious beliefs.
Now, the UN has actually called on Australia to end these exemptions. So you've got this major clash, the right of a religious institution to run itself according to its own beliefs versus the right of an individual to be free from discrimination.
It's a huge dilemma. So why is this pushback in Canada and Australia so intense? To really understand what's at stake, we have to look past the laws and into the core theological beliefs that are driving this entire fight.
See, from a theological point of view, religious freedom isn't just one right among many. It's considered the foundational one, the mother of human rights. Why? because it protects the very core of your identity and your conscience, your ability to connect with God as you see fit.
And if you look at Scripture, you see this idea over and over. This passage from Matthew, for instance, frames the relationship between faith and the world as one of conflict. So for many believers, facing persecution isn't a surprise. It's actually what they expect.
And this brings us to the ultimate fear, the idea that a law designed to stop hate could be used to criminalize a central belief of a faith, like the claim from the book of John that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. For them, that's not hate speech, it's the core of their salvation.
Which brings us right back to where we started. We're looking at this global tug of war between deeply held values. It's a clash of rights, a clash of worldviews, and there is absolutely no simple resolution.
From the US championing public faith, to Canada policing religious speech, to Australia debating institutional rights, there are just no easy answers. Each nation is trying to find its own balance, and the line they end up drawing will define the limits of freedom for everyone.
So what do you think? Where should that line be drawn? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more explainers on the big questions that are shaping our world.